Welcome. It is Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. Welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversation Show with your host, Camila, aka Sunshine. We are live on Spotify, live on Twitch, Twitter, the YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe. It is the name of the show. Of course, we are live on my Facebook page, which I am about to go and make it live for everyone to get on if you choose. Again, I'm so excited. I am biased about our guests, of course, because I'm always loving all my guests that comes on. I have the best guests. I do believe so. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You are one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. Again, it has been proven over and over again that we I can't explain it how everything just aligns itself. Give me just a second while I get this live going. So in the meantime, let's see here. I have this wonderful guest here, and we're going to get into his bio shortly. And get on with the show. It is awesome. Let's see here. See if we're live here. Yep, we are live. So posting it now. All right. So this gentleman right here is currently in Atlanta.
I'm in the A. Shout out Atlanta.
Shout out to Atlanta. I'm excited for this opportunity. Again, I'll let you know after I read his bio of where we got connected.
I didn't even know I had a bio. I can't wait to hear it.
It's actually Miss Brooks sent it to me off of your Kid from Brooklyn Productions.
Shout out Miss Brooks. Shout out Beverly Brooks. Shout out the whole WBNC, Breaking Chains Radio. Shout you out, Sunshine. Shout out Detroit.
Absolutely. So she sent me the bio from your website, where it states we are a production company designed to turn your ideas into reality, whether through writing, shooting, staging, event creation, organization, execution, or through education. We will assist in bringing your ideas into physical fruition.
Yes,
Um,
man.
um, so that means you are in the arts. And so a veteran in acting, a producer and writer. You strive to bring dreams and vision into reality. Our goal is to empower anyone to be able to be innovative in a cutting edge entertainment. You have classes and workshops for adults, teens, and children. It ranges from private or group sessions. And I am excited to hear about this. But what we called you on here for at this point was actually for this new book.
Hey,
This
look at
new
that.
book.
You're seeing double vision. Look at that. And then look at this. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. It's in 3 dimensions. Look.
Yes. So we're going to talk about all of that, but we're also going to talk about the new book. And so I'm excited about that. So you guys, I want you guys to welcome Trevor to our platform.
Hello, guys. I love that. I love that. Sounds like there's 1,000 people here.
It is.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
Where I'm going to get right on into it. So where tell me about in the beginning, like were you writing or was you in the arts as a kid?
As a kid, I learned how to read very early. I was growing up in New York City, like in the late 60s, early 70s. Sesame Street was popular. Zoom was
Mm,
popular. What's the Electric Company? You know,
yes.
what's the other one where the guy sings, "I'm
Reading
just a kid."
Rainbow.
I'm sorry?
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow, I'm not familiar with. What was that? Tell me what that's about.
I want to say it was what is his name? The guy that played on Roots, the main
Oh, LeVar
character.
Burton. LeVar Burton.
Yes. If
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
mistaken, he was reading Rainbow.
I think you're right. Yeah, I grew up on all these kinds of shows, and they taught me to read. So from a very early age, I was reading everything in my house. I was reading the cereal box and the tube of toothpaste, and I was just reading everything, and it taught me like the rhythm of reading. So I started writing. What I would do is I would listen to song lyrics on the radio, like Michael Jackson song lyrics, and then I would like sort of see the words in my head, and I would go get a pen and write the words down that they were singing, and then I started to notice, like 4 lines equals 1 bar, 8 lines equals another bar, and I just kind of learned really quickly how to put words to rhythm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I understand a lot of that because, as a creator, a writer, a performer, all of these music, singing, all of these things, I actually started at home, but it began to be perfected not only in school but in church. So you know how like every so often you have to do plays, you have to do speeches, you have to do all these things. So I was introduced to an audience young. Church audience is probably one of the
I'm
toughest church.
serious. I'm serious. How old were you? How old were you at that time?
So it was one of these. So if you are successful in a church audience, you can perform anywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the hardest audience out there. You're not just singing in front of people, you're singing in front of Jesus. So you got to come with it.
Absolutely. You might not get the booze, but you understand, oh, that po baby. You know that, yeah, you could have did better.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
that means.
But good, that's the best training you can get, like you said, that makes your skin thick. So,
Absolutely.
you whatever people can come with after that don't mean nothing.
Nothing at
Yeah.
all. So with you writing and in school, were you acting as well?
I was, but but I didn't really want to. It was more like the teacher made me get in the play because I could read, and the teachers knew I could memorize things. They
Mhm.
knew they knew whatever whichever character had to talk the most or had the most lines or whatever, the teacher always gave me that role, whether I wanted it or not. But then I just felt like it was part of the curriculum. I
Uh,
didn't know I was acting or whatever. I just thought, okay, I guess this is what you got to do in elementary school. The teacher tells you go home and memorize all this and pretend that you're Abe Lincoln or something. That's that's what you got to do. So, I mean, yeah, I guess at that early, I was also in the Nutcracker Suite. I remember that like every year, 3 years in a row, I was in that stupid play. And I think I was one of I don't remember. I did not have the main character in that Nutcracker Suite because I don't think I could dance. I don't even remember. But yes, I did some acting in elementary school, not knowing that it was acting. Like I said, I just thought it was part of the curriculum.
so after that, like after high school or during high school, um when did the arts become the arts to you, if you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny, like like I was doing those plays and things in elementary school in Queens, New York. And after 6th grade, it suddenly wasn't cool to do that anymore.
Right.
I guess I became a teenager, I don't know, whatever. But it suddenly became not cool to do it anymore.
Okay.
So I guess I stopped doing it around 7th grade and didn't think about it again until college, really. I was in like a talent show in my high school. We had this like lip sync performance contest in high school, and it was called, well, I don't remember what the name of the contest was called, but my band's name was Soul Patrol. And at this time, Michael Jackson was popular. It was 1,000 years ago when Michael Jackson was actually popular. And our band lip synced, whatever is the past tense of lip sync. Our band lip synced two songs by Michael Jackson. And in the Beat It song, I pretended to play Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo on stage. That was my moment to do that, to pretend to do that solo, that Eddie Van Halen guitar thing, whatever. But that was the only thing I did, performance or art-wise, in high school. And then when I got to college, I remember I went to the University of Florida, and the dean asked me, I got accepted to the college, and the dean asked me, "What do you want to do here, Trevor? What do you want to do here at this college?" And I was like, well, I want to do something with writing, and I want to do something with reporting and interviewing, something related to music. So they accepted me into their broadcast journalism program. And I worked at the news stations. I worked at all the radio stations at the University of Florida. I worked at the Independent Alligator, which is the University of Florida student newspaper. I worked at the news station down in Gainesville, WCJB, which is still there. It's the ABC affiliate in Gainesville. I was a videographer for them. I did all the news stuff I could do in Gainesville, Florida, and it wasn't really enough. I realized that I didn't want to be a reporter. That's what I got my degree in. I went to UF for those 2 years, and I got my degree. Am I talking too much? If I'm talking too much, you could be like, Trevor, come on now.
No. I'm listening.
Okay. So, yeah, I got my degree in broadcast journalism, but it was boring. Being a reporter was boring for me. It wasn't creative at all. It was just reporting what actually happened in reality, which was not creative to me. And then after I graduated from UF, I moved down to Orlando, Florida, and I worked at Disney MGM Studios. Disney MGM at the time had just opened a movie studio theme park, which is still there. I worked there for a couple of years, and I was a tour guide at Disney. I was a tour guide. I think they started me at $5.25 an hour. Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah, they started me at $5.25 an hour, and I was a tour guide in Orlando, and I loved it. I loved, it was like I was working in a movie studio. They were filming movies and TV shows and commercials and all kinds of stuff right next door while I was doing these tours. So at least I was closer to, quote unquote, the action, and then I got an agent in Orlando. I got a commercial agent. I took some pictures, submitted them to 2 or 3, or I don't know, 3 or 4 agencies in Orlando, wound up having some interviews, and then I got an agent, and then this agent got me a tiny role in a movie that was being shot at Disney MGM. So it was the pinnacle of my success. Do you understand? Right, in Orlando, I had gotten an agent. I had gotten a role in a legitimate movie. Mark Hamill. You know who Mark Hamill is? Mark Hamill is the original star, is Luke Star Wars. Okay,
Okay.
that's Luke. Mark Hamill was the lead actor in this film. That
Wow.
yeah, Luke from Star Wars. So I go from being a tour guide at Disney MGM to getting this agent to getting a few auditions, and then somehow, getting this role in this film with with Luke from Star Wars. And that was sort of the beginning of the whole thing. That was like, wow, Trevor, you maybe this is something you ought to
Pursue.
get into. Yeah. That was my very first legitimate acting job, I think. And it was, at the time I felt like it was a fluke, but it wasn't. The name of the movie is King's Ransom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with having your feet wet, to where did the decision come, or where did the choice come from? um I want to do this or help others with pursuing art, entertainment.
Um, everybody dreams, right? Like everybody's a dreamer. Everybody's got some dreams. Everybody, even if it's as simple as running a mile without stopping, everybody's got some dream that they want to do. And no man is an island. I have discovered that it takes a tribe of people to raise the dream energy for everybody. Like if I'm pursuing my dream by myself, I think it's more difficult than if I'm helping other people to pursue their dreams. Like I have my own little individual dream, somebody else might have a dream of working on a film. Somebody else might have a dream of catering for a film. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somebody else might have a dream of being the stylist for a film. If I can put all these people's dream energy together, I feel like we can raise everybody's dream energy simultaneously. And the world runs, SpongeBob says so. The world runs on dream energy. The world runs on dream energy. So I'm just trying to increase the dream energy in the world.
So I do agree with um I know a person very close to me who others get roles when it comes to TV, movies, things of that nature. And then he did it on himself, and doors start to open when that wasn't, what he went out for. But now he's getting roles himself. And I'm like, wow. He started off with singing and modeling, and now he's getting the callbacks and things of that nature. So I'm super super excited. So I understand um that we have to put come together, connect, push each other, and you never know what's gonna blossom. Just like planting seeds. Eventually, someone's gonna water. Somebody's gonna get the all of these things, and eventually we'll all get to where we need to be. So I get it. I truly do. So what was that moment like? Walk me through the moment where you said, "You know what? I've did the acting. I've uh, I'm helping others. Where did books come from?"
Well, wow. Okay, so my book, The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan, a jaded memoir by Trevor David Houchen. My book, it's it's about my experience in Japan. I lived in Japan for 10 years, and it's about my experience there. And um, it's a unique story. It's a unique story that not many people get to experience. Obviously, everybody has heard of Japan and knows some little thing about Japan. Japan is popular for certain things, whatever, anime, sushi, whatever. But I lived there for 10 years and my experience was really unique. So I wanted to record the experience so other people could visit Japan through my book. So people could be, if you've ever wanted to go to Japan, but for whatever reason you can't, you can definitely go to Japan by reading this book. You can definitely visit Japan by reading this book. And it's fascinating. It's just fascinating. It's like being on another planet. I say that all the time. It sounds like a cliche. I'm tired of hearing myself say that, but it's the truth. Like living over there was like living on another planet. And it's interesting, it's interesting. It's interesting for people
Do
who
you
are interested.
mean do you mean by another planet being culture wise, the sights, the food, um, all of that plus some?
All that, all that, all that. Yeah, all that. It just, first culturally, culturally, they live pretty much 180 degrees on the opposite side of the world than we Americans. If you understand what I mean, like if you can look at the globe, look at the globe, we live here, they live here, literally on the other side of the world. So you might say that they live on the opposite side of the world. You understand what I'm saying? And their values and their cultures are opposite from ours. For example, we Americans are taught to be independent and opinionated and, express ourselves at any opportunity and express our whole selves at every opportunity, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment. This is built into the fabric of what it means to be America. Whereas Japanese are exactly the opposite. Japanese try very hard to be quiet, to be harmonious, to fit in, to not express their thoughts, to be silent. And because they have these, there's 1,000 opposite values like that. You have to relearn how to behave yourself in Japan. You have to literally, you can't just go be yourself. That's what America teaches you to do all day, every day, is just be yourself. But you can't really just go be yourself in a country like Japan. People look at you like you're crazy. So you have to change your behavior. You have to rewire your neurological neurons and stuff in order to fit into their society. So that's one way that I mean it's like another planet.
I totally agree. I was actually talking to a young lady earlier. People probably gonna be mad at me, but I worked at Toyota for 6 years, and it was one of the best companies to this day that I've ever worked for. They when I first came in, I worked for the company in Alabama. It was the engine plant. They were there on site, the Japanese, and they had an interpreter, but they made sure that we did not cut corners. They made sure that everything was top notch from the time you parked your car till you left. They were very concerned about your whole being. I told them we had to come in and we had to exercise. We had to do like meditation before we actually started work as a team. And then we had to do it before lunch, no, after lunch and before we went home. They made sure that um, family was first, not the job. During the shutdown, when the big three were down, they never laid us off. They promised that One time they did a layoff that they would never do it again, and they have kept their promises. And again, that was one of the companies that I wish I could go back in time and stay at if I wanted to stay in something like that because of the culture, because of what they meant as far as the family and leaving legacy. Like you wasn't going to get a promotion because you were family. They literally worked themselves up the ladder from janitor all the way up, send you to Toyota University, and also um, work ethics was everything. And so I'm grateful for having that opportunity um, to be with them to see how they operate. So I clearly I get it because
Yeah,
I worked at another place and I was like, never.
yeah, all those things you said about Toyota, extend across Japanese culture everywhere. Like Japanese are incredibly honest.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm talking in terms of business and finance and financial things. They will pay you what they told you at the time they told you. They will pay you a good salary. They're honorable about money and business. I think they're the most honorable about money and business culture in the world. I would say Japanese are. Um, they don't have extremes to the degree that we do. Like, we don't have, they don't have the same homeless population, extremes of wealth and poverty like we do here in America. They have some, of course, but the society as a whole works to sort of hold up the whole society. So there's not so much extreme. And like I said earlier, Japanese very, very strongly believe in harmony. So they work hard so that everybody is satisfied to some degree. It's not a culture based on greed. Like, America, capitalism is, let's just keep it. Capitalism is about making as much money as you can at the cost of anything, at the cost of your employees, your whatever. It's just cut as many corners as you can to make as much money as you can. That's what that's what we live under here in America. We are the epitome of capitalistic society. We are the most capitalistic society, and we invented it. We invented capitalism, and capitalism inevitably leads to greed.
Great.
But Japanese isn't a capitalistic country. They don't, they're much more of a, I don't know, I don't want to say socialistic because that's a political term, but they're just much more about a certain harmony. Like if there was such a political ideology as harmonistic, you know, that's what Japanese would be. Harmony is their most important thing. Another thing, we're discussing differences between America and Japan. Like there's almost no crime in Japan, like almost no crime. Now, if I say that to you, it's hard for you to imagine what I mean. But what I mean is there's almost never, someone getting mugged, shot, killed, beat up. It doesn't happen in Japan. It almost doesn't happen anywhere ever. And when you live in a place where there's almost no crime, let me go further, almost no trash anywhere. It's spotless. There's no crime. People are honest about money. It's a whole different way of orienting yourself towards society as opposed to here in America where it's filthy everywhere. Nobody cares about the environment. everyone is trying to get over on everybody else financially every day, every way they can. That's just that's how we get down here in America. We just accept that as a normal way of being, to try to get as much money as you can, do as little for as much as you can, cut corners as much as you can, price gouging. Price gouging is normal here. Like if suddenly there's a scarcity of things, the manufacturer is going to double, triple the price just to make a profit. And we Americans think that's normal, but it's not. It's just an insane greed that I didn't see when I was in Japan. So those are a few things that are vastly different. It's a culture of silence. It's a culture of harmony. It's a culture of cleanliness and sanitation. It's a culture of honesty in terms of finance. Those are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful values, so kudos to the Japanese.
You stayed there for 10 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so in those 10 years, um, what brought you back?
Are you sort of saying, why did you come back here, dude? Is that what you're sort of saying?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, it's the story is in the book. I was married in Japan. I had a Japanese wife. We had 2 kids. I was a family man in Japan, and my marriage to my Japanese wife was very, very difficult. The culture, it was just too much of a culture clash, like I just described to you. It was a marriage of those 2 different competing sets of values. Mine from America, hers from Japan, and we just couldn't make it last. So I got a divorce. We divorced, and I stayed, 3, 4, 5 years after we divorced, so I could build a relationship with our children. And it got to be really hard on me while I was there. My ex-wife and I developed kind of like an adversarial relationship. We just were not seeing eye to eye. And because women have a lot more power over children than men in Japan, I couldn't really see my kids. And I came back to America to sort of regroup, to be able to, I felt like I was losing my mind because I couldn't see my kids. So I came back to America to kind of regroup. And here it is, 9.5 years later, or 9 years later, and I'm still regrouping.
So your kids are in Japan?
Yes, they are.
So you're not able to talk to them at all?
Um, the Japan has a unique cultural tradition where in divorce, the women essentially get complete custody of the children and are able to do or not do whatever they want to or not want to do. So I have been trying since I came back to America to be in touch with my kids, but I have not heard from my children's mother, or I've also tried to contact the grandmother because I had a great relationship, or a decent relationship with my ex-mother-in-law. I don't know, should I say ex? Or should I just say my mother-in-law? I had a good relationship with my mother-in-law in Japan, so I've tried to contact her, but I haven't heard anything. So I haven't seen or heard from my kids for almost exactly the same amount of time that I was in Japan, 10 years.
So, normally outside of cultural differences, we normally don't hear those type of stories from a man when it comes to actually wanting, and a black man at that, wanting to be in their children's life and not able to. So, what does I would say not the heartstrings, but in this book, is it more detailed about how you really feel about the culture when it comes to not being able to talk or see your children?
Well, the book is what I was experiencing while I was in Japan. You know what I mean? It's not a book really retroactively looking back at it and being able to examine my feelings. The book is about what I was experiencing day to day to day to day while I was in Japan.
Okay. Sort
And
of
it,
like a an extended journal.
yes,
Okay.
it's in present tense, it's not in past tense, it's in present tense, like it's happening right now.
Got you.
So while I was going through it, it was like a shock, like it was a, first of all, I'm in another country, I'm in another country on the other side of the world, literally by myself. Um, and suddenly I'm married. Suddenly I got two kids, and then suddenly I'm not married anymore. It was all like a crazy whirlwind of things that happened. And then suddenly I'm fighting to be able to see these two little kids that I wanted. I went before my wife and I got married. I asked her, I said, I hope we can have at least two or three kids. Please, can we do that? As soon as we get married, let's go ahead and have these kids. Um, I was not too much older than my wife, but a little bit older than her, but she was at the perfect age. She was 24, 25 when we got married. She was perfect. So I was, then when we got married, boom, boom, we did it. We had these two kids. And I was excited and happy. But the cultural differences were ripping at our relationship. We were both very happy with our children. We both equally loved our son and daughter, but our relationship was fraying at the edges because of all the cultural stuff. My cultural baggage, I just got to keep it real. My cultural baggage, my expectations of what a woman should do, my expectations of what marriage should be, my need as a Black man to express myself and make myself clear about every damn thing, my need to, just be expressive and be the man was overpowering and overbearing for this Japanese woman and her family and her culture. That's just not how they get down. They're not loud, expressive, forward, direct, clear. That's not how they get down. And it ripped away at our love bonds because our approach to relationship and parenthood was so different, to the point where we couldn't stay together anymore. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling this story. I don't know.
So I asked, how did you come back? I never asked, how did you get there in the first place?
Okay, well, just let me say, if I'm just be, can I be real and just finish the story about how I came
Absolutely.
back? I came back absolutely, sunshine, with my tail between my legs, humbled. I won't say humiliated, but humbled, broken down, and like twisted from the inside out. I had fought for 3 or 4 years for custody of my kids, to be able to be involved in my kids' life. I had fought for 3 or 4 years in Japan with my ex-wife, with her family. I went to court 3 times. I went to 2 or 3 different mediations, they call it. I had to hire my own Japanese lawyer because I wasn't speaking fluent enough Japanese. I really fought hard to be in my kid's life. And I could see that my wife was fighting harder with more ammunition than me. I could see I was losing. You know, I'm this sole black man trying to be involved in my children's life. And my wife has her family, tradition, friends, you know what I'm saying? She's got culture, and I was losing, and I'm not used to losing. You know, I'm not really used to losing like that, losing face. So when I came back to America, I was thoroughly humbled, and it was like I had just gotten out of a war. Even though I had a great time in Japan, it was really like I had just gotten out of a war.
Well, let me ask this. When you went to Japan, did you plan to be there that long, or
Absolutely not.
because you
Absolutely
fell in
not.
love, that's, you know.
No, it wasn't quite that either. Like I went, so you asked me how did I get there? I went there on a year contract to teach acting and English at a private institution in Nagoya. Nagoya is the third biggest city in Japan, and Nagoya also just so happens to be the headquarters of Toyota. So that's where I went. I went to that city on a year contract, and I was only supposed to be there for a year. But at the end of that contract, I kind of thought to myself, well, Trevor, you can go back to LA and continue trying to pursue your acting career. And I did not like LA. I'm not the biggest fan of LA. I probably shouldn't say that, but it's not my vibe. So I didn't want to go back to LA at the end of that year, at the end of the year in Japan. So I just stayed. And each year turned into another year, and each year turned into another year, and each year, I didn't plan to stay 10 years, just one year rolled into the next and rolled into the next, sort of like that.
So let me ask this. Since it is a difference with our culture over there where women are more dominant when it comes to their kids, um, is there, or do you know if there's a racial issue with your children being biracial?
Mm, in Japan, they call biracial children hafu, hafu, which means half, hafu. Japan is, see, here's something that you probably can't imagine. This is what I mean. Here's another thing that's totally different. Japan is like 98% Japanese. Now, you being American, we live in a melting pot where you walk out your street, depending on where you live, and you can see Spanish, Asian, Indian, his white, all at your local supermarket. And you can see that every day, all day, everywhere. And it's likely that you will. That's just America. But it's a very, very different thing to be in a country where almost everyone is one race, one nationality. Like it's it's super Japanese. You get what I'm saying? It's not mixed at all. It might be it's mixed in Tokyo. It's mixed in Tokyo. It's a big city like New York City, so it's mixed. I guess it's mixed in Osaka also. The top couple of big cities, it's kind of mixed, but more or less, it's really, really Japanese. So you asked me about race. My feeling is that they don't make it just hard for men of a different nationality when it comes to seeing their children. It's more of a male female thing than it is a race thing. I know Japanese dudes who haven't seen their children for years and don't even try because they know that they're not going to.
No, I know I'm okay with that. I'm asking about your kids. Do they treat your do you if you knew if they treated your kids differently because your kids are biracial?
Well, again, Japan being almost completely homogenous, anything different is looked at with some suspicion. So, you know, I'm sure that, everybody in my kids' classes notices these two little half black Japanese students. But bro, I don't think that you know what? I just can't answer that question, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what their experience is. I don't know what they might be experiencing. I know that they are being brought up to be Japanese, and I know that they think of themselves as Japanese. You know, they are full. I don't know. To me, they're full-blooded Japanese from the sense that they were born and raised there. You know, speak the language, blah blah blah. Of course, they're half me, but their cultural orientation is Japanese. But I really can't speak for them. I don't know what their experience is. I wish I did. I really wish I did.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, because you were saying that, the majority of it is one race, I'm sure, like you said, they might get the looks, they might get, you will tell the difference by the complexion, probably,
Yeah.
and all of these different things that are different because they're not completely 100% Japanese. So, again, this is a great story.
These are my
Not
kids.
to, aw,
That's Tayo and that's Asia. That's when they were very, very young. But we did like some photo shoots for them because they were so unique looking. You know, we did a bunch of photo shoots, and that's them. That's Tayo and Asia.
wow. Oh my gosh. Again, this is a very unique story. I've never heard of it before. Um, Again, just to be over the culture state, the things that we have seen in movies, and things of that nature. Um, but to get there, I do know a couple of people who went there to teach, and were there for a while, and they said they loved it. They, if they had a choice, they would go back. Between Japan and Germany, most of my military people said that they love the cultures there. Um, Again, anything is possible. Of course, we all say, don't give up. I can imagine what it feels like to have my children in a whole different country, on a whole different time zone, a whole different everything, and still um, live day to day, knowing that at this moment, I don't know what I could do. What more can I do to be able to be a father to my children? Um, at this moment, of course, the arts of writing, filming, all of these things are good avenues to express yourself, to actually talk about, share your heartstrings. Because again, I couldn't imagine not being able to see my children that I purposely wanted to bring in the earth. And because of cultural differences, um, I can't see them. So is there a moment, as far as legally, I don't, do they have an embassy there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
So is there a way to um legally, I, what more can you do?
What I can do at this point is request that the Division of Child Services, they change their names every a couple of years. Division of Child Services, Division of Child Welfare, whatever. This is the arm of the United States government that deals with this kind of stuff. I can petition them to do a welfare check on my children, which is to find them and see if they're okay. And then the government reports back to me, we found your children, they are okay. That's all. That's the best, that's the only thing that the government can do. Um, what I can do is I could go and request another mediation hearing. But it's been 10 years, and that would be, it's been almost 10 years. That just, that wouldn't be the right thing to do. That wouldn't be the right thing to do. Um, Another thing that I can do potentially is enlist a private investigator to go find my children, to go, like, you know what I mean? Hire a private investigator to go find my children in Japan. That's something that has crossed my mind and crosses my mind all the time. But the third option is the one that I think I'm going to do. And that is, at some point, I'm going to get back on an airplane and go back to Japan and find my kids.
That was my next thing. Like, are you planning to go back to Japan?
Yeah, I know that I have to do that. I know that I have to do that. I know that that's the only way, because there's so much red tape and bureaucratic. I mean, see, that's what I mean. Because it's another planet, they have entirely different ways of doing things. My ex-wife can hide forever. You know what I mean? She can throw up all kinds of stuff to keep me away as long as I don't go there. But if I go there and track them down and stand someplace and say, I am your dad, it's me. I don't know how I would see them
Oh,
other than
how old are they now?
my son will be 16 this September and my daughter will be 14 this July. I left when they were 6 and 4.
People, if you're online, if you have any questions for him, um, please write in the chat, and we can actually ask them questions before we get off. Um, wow, this is mind boggling. My, just
You know,
blown away.
it's not as uncommon as you think for men in Japan. Like, the most popular prime minister of Japan of the last like 50 years, his name is Junichiro Ichiro, something like that. Junichiro Ichiro, something like that. He's super popular prime minister of Japan. He got divorced. He's not allowed to see his children. This is the ex prime minister of the country, it's that's just how they do things. It's kind of normal. It's they
Which
have
is,
no
like you said, which is, totally different because here women in America are still fighting for their rights on certain things. And here in this culture, women basically rule when it comes, is it in general or just when it comes to their kids?
women in Japan run the house. There's a myth in the West that Japanese women and all Asian women are these subservient creatures. But the woman is unmistakably the head of the household in Japan. It's just a given, Like here in America, king of the castle, you know, that doesn't exist in Japan. It's the queen of the castle. The woman is in charge of the house. So I think by extension, culture and tradition just developed along the lines of, well, it's a well-known fact that women essentially take care of the children completely while men go, all they do is earn a salary. So if there should ever be a divorce, it's just a given that the woman is going to get these children that she's been taking care of. It's just kind of a given.
So
Breaking up.
wow. To support the book, we would want to hear more about Japan, especially after this conversation. Um, I have experienced it on the level here, but never experienced it in Japan itself. So, can you let the people know how to get in touch with you and how to support your book?
Well, first of all, I'll be in Philadelphia on June 23rd at the Courtyard Marriott in Philadelphia doing a book signing with my partner, Timothy Allen Smith. We're both
Which
promoting my
I will
book.
have on Thursday.
Say again?
Which I will have on Thursday.
Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah, so I'll be in Philly, June 23rd, 7 p.m. at the Courtyard. You can come there if you're going to be in and around Philly. Other than that, you can just go on Amazon and type in The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan, and you can get the book on Amazon. I think it's like $19. But I don't think there are any used copies available yet since it's kind of just coming out. But Amazon is where you can get the book, The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan, by myself, Trevor David Houchen. Sure. If you want to go to Japan, read my book.
Are you on any social media platforms?
Yeah, my Instagram is, I'm not all heavy into it, but my Instagram is a kid from Brooklyn. Yeah, is that how I say it?
I think so.
Yeah, at Mark, right? At Mark, a kid from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel. It's called The Eternal Outsider. The Eternal Outsider is my YouTube channel, spelled exactly like that. TheEternal Outsider, Outsider, which of course is the name of my book, The Eternal Outsider. That's my YouTube channel. It's Instagram, a kid from Brooklyn. I've got some music coming out too. I wish we could talk about that, but that's a big deal to me, my new music stuff.
Well, that when it comes out or close to it, we can actually, get back on the show again. So again, our time is up. I enjoyed your conversation. It was very enlightening. Again, everyone, please support Trevor. Again, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You are one person away, one advice away, and one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. Again, support him in all that he's doing. Of course, lift him up to continue to give him hope so he'll be able to see his children once again. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out to share with us about your book and your life. Thank you so much.
Peace and blessings, sunshine. Thank you to you and your audience. Love to talk to you. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. See you guys.
Thank you. And we are out.
What now? Ooh. Wow, my video looks like shit. Look at that, Trevor. Are we out?